Dear single mom, God provides. I know where you are. I know what you've been through. I know it's been hard. But also, you have, or probably you have forgotten to keep God as your friend. I came here to tell you that God still provides. I understand those financial needs you have. I understand those emotional needs you have. I understand all those physical needs you have. Believe me, God is able to provide all that. He is the greatest friend. He is the best friend you can ever keep by your side. And you are doing yourself no justice by living by yourself. You can only draw your strength from God. You can only draw your help from God. I know you're trying to follow up with the baby daddy. I know you're trying to go after him to give you upkeep for your children. I know it's frustrating. I know it has stolen your joy. I know it's been hectic. And I came here to tell you that you don't have to rush to any human being to help you. Not even the father of the kids. All you need to do is keep God by your side, and He's gonna sort all your needs. Trust you me. Believe me when I tell you that, because that has been my life. I have had a rough patch. I have had days where I'm happy. I've had days when, it's frustrating, it is overwhelming, when you have to do everything by yourself. As much as we can maybe pride ourselves in being strong, there are moments when we break down. Because the Bible says that two are better than one, right? And children were not supposed to be brought up by one parent. Only that circumstances sometimes force us to do so. And so I understand that even staying single and just fighting for your kids can be overwhelming, and also it can be very draining. I understand all that. And it's been long. It's been a journey for you, and all you have been doing is running to people. Whoever that is you've been running to, I'm sure you've not felt sorted out in whatever you need. I want to give you an example that is not an example that is not that, what can I say? An example that is in the Bible that most people don't talk about. We hear the story of Sarah and Abraham, but few people talk about Hagar. I want to remind you that Hagar was in your position. Hagar was in the position you are. Beautiful woman of God, Hagar was in that position. And I want you today to go and read that story of Hagar. I want you to draw strength from that. Because the story of Hagar was not supposed to happen. It was only manufactured by man, because the will of God was for Abraham to have a son through the wife Sarah. But then, because of impatience, Sarah fronted an idea of where Abraham would sleep with the Hagar, who was a maid or a servant, so that they could get that child that they couldn't wait for, because the waiting was taking long and they were growing impatient. So that's exactly what happened. So Hagar became pregnant. And when you remember that story, when Hagar became pregnant, I think she started looking down upon Sarah. And of course, Sarah got mad. And at some point, Hagar was, Abraham allowed Sarah to chase her away. And Hagar went into the wilderness. The food they had been packed for, she had been packed for, because at that point she was alone, got finished, and she was crying in the wilderness, in the desert. And an angel of the Lord appeared to her and told her that God had seen her cry, he had seen her situation, and she was instructed to go back to Sarah and obey her, and and do whatever she was supposed to do as a servant. She went back. After giving birth to Ishmael again, I think Ishmael started, by that time Isaac had been born, and I think Ishmael started, despising Isaac or something. And then, again, they were chased away. When they were chased away, they went also in the wilderness, in the desert. And I remember the child Ishmael wanted water, and the mother could not provide, and she was so sad that she could not stand seeing the son dying, and she left Ishmael unattended and just went away and started crying. And the angel of the Lord again appeared to her and asked her, why is she crying? And the Lord has heard her cry, and the Lord had instructed the angel to tell her that water will be provided, and the water was provided, and Ishmael took the water. And now, look at that story. Look at the story. When you look at it, it's the present single women of today. Whatever the circumstance, how you ended up getting those children you have, it doesn't matter. What matters is that God sees your cry. God sees your predicament. God sees where you are stuck. God sees it. And you see, Hagar at some point had to name God as the God who sees me. Because all those times, she couldn't believe that she was crying, stranded, and all that. And God was there watching her and even sending help in the desert. And many of us, including myself, we have found ourselves in such situations where we are stranded. We don't know what to feed our children. We don't know how they will go to school. We don't know how they will dress. We don't know what they will eat. And sometimes it's very tempting to even rush to people. But I want to let you know that God sees you. He's the God who sees. I want you to draw strength from Hagar's story and believe that God is seeing you. God is with you. I want to give you an example of my story, one of my stories. The year 2020, I was so broke. I had left employment. I was just so broke. I didn't have money. I was starting this journey of obeying God and doing what he wanted me to do, because he wanted to use me for his glory. And at 2020, when COVID came, I was so broke. And at some point, I was so stressed. One night, I was just so stressed. I was just seated on the couch. And then, all of a sudden, I felt like I needed someone to hug me. I was just so stressed. And I just saw my son coming from the other side of the couch, and he's shouting, "Mom, I just need a hug." And he hugged me. And I felt so much relief. That night, I slept like a baby. God had seen how I was feeling, and God can use anyone or anything. He can even use that little child you are seeing around there to comfort you and calm you. And the next day, God opened for me doors. I sold honey across Nairobi. in a way you cannot explain. So be encouraged.